Alright, you bastards, this is Some-Belgian-prepper, and today we're going to talk about the heart of every pepper home, the motor that it will keep running on if you want to be semi or fully independent from systems. There is one thing that is in this system, and this one thing can do 10 to 20 to 12 tasks at once if you are efficient with it or plan it through, but it is something necessary if you want to be off grid. And before we go to talk about that, because I'm a sneaky bastard, if you're interested in detective stories, there will be a link to my book called Bloody Crosses. It's in Dutch, and also the second part, the Jason murders. So if you're interested, take a look, I would say. All right, so what I'm talking about the stove. In this case, wood stove, because if you plan things right ahead, you can do so much with this, and it will increase your survival plans by 12-fold, I would say. First of all, let's say the obviously why you need a stove, and that is of course for boiling water. Boiling water to purify water, to cook food on top of it, and also to have a nice cup of tea or coffee or tea or whatever you like to drink. Those are very important. Also to cook food on, to bake with a pan or something. Of course, those are basic things. But you can do this at the same time. You can boil water and make a cup of tea. I installed a little platform on top of the hot stovepipe. So I thought to myself, why that's heat that is rising up from that pipe is going to waste. So at the same time, I can hang some clothes here. That's the reason why I wear this hat, because this one is drying because I need to wash it. So you can put something on top of it, like on this hook, as you can see. But you need to take account, you cannot put it directly on top of the stovepipe. So you can dry clothes at the same time. You can dry clothes. You can put some meat for beef jerky on top of it, that it will dry out a little bit more, or very slowly cooking or keeping food warm, that kind of stuff. So that's also a good reason good thing you can do at the same time. So another thing we do at the same time is drying out a pelt from my livestock. So that's another thing you can do at the same time, because the side of the stove is also useful over that. But you can put it against it, but not directly against the stove, otherwise it will burn it. So another thing you can do is, of course, heat, especially in wintertime. This one stove can heat up this whole room, even though it was freezing last week, and it heated this up with 2-3 hands full of wood. So yeah, heating, same thing. It's just like in the medieval time, the stove was the heart of the home, and that's why it's very important, and you can do all these tasks. Another thing you can do is you can heat one of those warm water bottles to take to your bedroom and put it into your bed and heat it. You can heat it up something like here. Another thing, if you got the capability, you can create electricity with this. I've got one of those small biolit stoves, and I put it against it for this much of time, and at a certain point it started to turn, so this generates electricity for the little battery. Still need to find a system to keep it attached on top of the stove while it's burning, so that I don't have to put it with my hands on top of it. But if I be able to attach it in that way, I can generate electricity with the heat from my stove. And if you know any other system that you can just put something on top of the stove, make electricity that way from the heat conduction, yeah, please let me know how this thing is called, because I would like such a system to attach to my stove. So another thing that I'm doing at the same time, not yet, but next week I'm going to do the experiment, because my manure briquettes are finally fully dried out, so I can test them out and make a video about that. But if you got livestock like me, you might have too much manure, so to say, that then you can use in your garden. So I once tried to make methane gas to heat up with the stove, It did not work, so I'm trying now the route of dried manure blocks, briquettes to burn in the stove. And if that works, I will be able to generate more heat with less wood, manure blocks, and that way I can get rid of my manure instead of using it too much in the garden, or in case one day that my guinea pigs will be too much and there will be too much manure. So in that case, I can regenerate, reuse, recycle in a way, all that stuff. And it is a part of my self-sufficiency plan on Little House Ragnarok, like I have called it. So the message I want to give you with this video is you can do more with less. If you do one task, you can do multiple tasks at the same time. And planning it out, building it is very fun to see how it's like a video game, to be more efficient, to do more with less. And that is the message I'm always trying to give you as a prepper. Do more with less, be efficient, but keep it fun, because these things, wood stoves, they tried to ban this in Belgium a couple of times. They postponed it, but I'm sure they will do it again. So don't let anyone say, oh, you have to put only electrical stoves in your home because of the climate change kind of stuff, or because of wood pollution. If you got a very good stove, it will like this. It does not have to be a big stove that will spew out smoke like a tanker. No, you get just a small stove and you can do so much more. You will be less dependent, and if the electricity grid falls down because of a blackout or something, or it's getting too expensive, that's the normal reason why to have this. And the last thing I would say to have a stove with you is it's so cozy. I was here last week with my friends around the stove, some tea, some booze, nice fire. Also, psychologically, a nice fire to look at. If you have a stove, it does not. It's also a psychological compact to not only have hot food and drinks, but also seeing the flames. It brings something out primitive, ensuring inside every human. And I would say that's also a very important part, that you can sit around the fire with family, with friends, 5 children, that kind of stuff. And it's a big, especially in a time of difficulty, stress, perhaps shit hit the fan. It's something ensuring if you sit around a visible fire. So that's one, perhaps an opponent that's not opponent, but component that is often overlooked in survival plans. So I rented to know about this. I'm going to do my 12 tasks around here. So if you're interested, tell me something else that I missed with this. Let me know in the comments. I'm always eager to learn. See you next video. Cheers.